Welcome to episode 123 of Both Down, the number one Blood Bowl podcast.
From the outskirts of O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Yay.
Yay!
The far, far, far outskirts, currently.
Yeah, it's pretty far. And the outskirts is true. I am Scott Prime, and with me today is Steve Kilowoggy Campbell.
And let's just give it up to Scott. First time ever, getting the introduction done on the first time. Literally, 10 years in, first time ever. Good job.
It really was.
Yeah.
No stutters, no coughs.
No
you don't even
three-die
have to
block.
edit this.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Scott always defaults to the three-die block opening.
I don't know why. It just sounds so... I don't know.
You're used to hearing it more than you're used to hearing ours.
Maybe because I pay attention more on other people's podcasts than our own.
Of course.
Because I get that still all the time. Like, oh, yeah, you're the Both Down guy. I remember this one episode. And I'm like, I said that? And they're like, yeah, you don't remember that? Oh, that cracked me up. And I'm like, not at all.
Yeah, no clue. Sorry.
Sorry, bro. I might have said that. I don't remember that.
It's like, I'm not doubting you. I just, doubt my own ability to remember stuff.
Speaking of, it's that time to remember. Chaos Cup is upon us, Steve.
Sure is.
And what better way to celebrate Chaos Cup than to have an episode dedicated to Chaos Cup itself, and even having the host of Chaos Cup, Jeff Gallenbeck, on this show.
Yeah, and in order to get this out in time before the registration ends, we're just going to have a quick episode of basically just us interviewing him. So that's what you get.
Hey, that happens, right? How's school going? I know you just started school because
the
that's
kiddos?
keeping you busy.
Yeah.
What's that?
The kids?
Well, no, aren't you also in school?
Yeah, but my semesters run from like June to December.
Oh, okay.
I go to Western Governors University, and it's an online college where you can do as many courses as you want. I completed 4 courses in a week. No, 2 weeks this time, sorry. Just so I could get reimbursed by the company.
That sounds pretty fancy.
Yeah.
Hey, if they're paying for it, though, that's good on you.
Oh, absolutely. But I do have a couple others I'm going to try to push through once I have some downtime. But my work has really started ramping up. It's the first week that we actually have classes, so trying to actually understand my new job role. So that's been going well. And hopefully, understanding this means that I might be able to squeak in Chaos Cup. But if I do make it, we'll go into that. But
yeah.
if I do end up going, it'll be like a Friday out, Sunday back type thing, most likely.
I gotcha. Well, it's been all about marching band camp here. Just to update everybody, because I know we're going to get to the episode here in a second. But it's been marching band camp for my oldest one who's in high school, which is crazy. So she's been that, and then school, and like she's really, really enjoying it. And to the fact that the other day in the car ride home, she's like, I am really glad that you and like my band teacher really pushed me to give, band a try in high school. She's like, it is really fun so far, Dad. And I'm like, so happy. So,
and this is maybe not a life tip or anything, but I think what probably helps her is just having something outside of herself that she's doing. Because you and I, we collected comic books growing up. We had games. We had friend groups that, we did stuff with.
I had sports.
Yeah.
I always said, like, I never felt like I was the popular kid in class, like in school, but I was also not alone, if that makes sense, because I had my sports friends that I did sports with, and then I had my buddies that I did nerd stuff with, and kind of mingled with all these different people. So,
and that's like a lot of what I see with Esther's kids is they tend to be alone. They have their siblings, they have people they play with online, but they don't hang out with other kids outside. They don't have like group activities they do.
Not Blood Bowl related, but at the same time it is, because it's really fun to always, most of the time the Blood Bowl trips are really fun just because you hang out with people.
Yeah.
And I constantly talk to Jennifer about, like, my biggest thing I'm worried about is, as my kids grow up, is like, I think they're going to be fine people. I just hope they have a few good, hardcore buddies, people that they can rely on. Like, yeah, I haven't seen you a ton since, the big move in and your family and everything else, but that's also fine. But I know that if something happens, I call you and you're there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
And that's the main thing. That, and I just want my kids to have something like that. I mean, it's funny. It's being 47 and being around all these kind of younger kids at work. One, they say I look way younger than I am, so I guess me living a stressless life of not worried about retirement and all this other stuff maybe helps. But they're just always shocked at like when I say like, "Oh yeah, that's my friend. I've known him for 35 years," and they're like, "How the hell do you know anybody for 35 years?" You know.
Yeah.
So pretty blessed in that thing, and I know a lot of people through Blood Bowl. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's where we've met most of our most recent friends.
right.
But
And
like I said,
speaking of one,
yep.
we got Jeff Gallenbeck waiting for us right now. So let's, in this segment, let's talk to Jeffro. We'll be right back right after this.
And we're back. And with us this time is Jeff Gallenbeck, also known as Jeffro, also the head of the Chaos Cup now. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you for having me.
The man in charge.
The man in charge. Yeah, temporarily.
Temporarily.
Until people kick me out for doing wacky stuff.
I don't think they can kick you out, can they?
There will be an insurrection. There will be all sorts of pitchforks, torches.
Jeff, if I had a prediction, I would say you're stuck with Chaos Cup until you're ready to give it up, because that's usually how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose.
After about 4 or 5 years, people go, "It's time for somebody else to try this thing."
Well, it's a lot to put on, but I mean, you've been doing a great time. You've been holding it at the Rose Hotel the last couple of years, doing that again.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, the Roses really they stepped up to the plate this year. Because the first year I ran in 2019, the rooms were like $130, which was a knockdown from whatever their 160 normal. And it was way more expensive. And then last year with COVID, they kept it at that like 125 or something. And then at the last minute or whatever, 3 weeks beforehand, they're like, I think we'll drop the rooms down to like $99 a night. And that made a huge difference for you, Scott.
Yeah.
And I think for other people too, they were like, holy cow, $99 a night. That is huge. Mm-hmm. And so that was my first thing when I met with the hotel about signing back up. They were like, what were some of the good things? What were some of the bad things? And I said, the fact that you guys reduced it to $99 a night was huge. If you can do that again, I don't think there's going to be anybody that can compete.
Yeah, well, especially with more advanced notice too, it'll help drive the people going because they know they can budget better.
Right. Mm-hmm. So they took the advice that you gave me, Scott, with regard to listen to the feedback. I went back with every little bit of feedback to the Rose Hotel. I said they want cheaper food options. I love the $99 a night. We want to have the whole wing and not, we want to be able to meet on Friday night and not pay for the room. But if it's available, use it. If it's already set for us, they were just like, check, 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 check. We want you back.
Awesome.
So
that's really great, actually. So does that mean there's more food options from the hotel? Or
they're gonna have a little grab and go section. It's like $5 to $8 for like I think they'll have a Chicago style hot dog option one day and a taco option and maybe a Chicago whatever the Portillo's type beef type thing.
Oh, the Italian beef.
Just like a simple, not sit down and have the Italian beef.
Well,
I'm not from Chicago.
I mean, I think that's good because
it was.
I had some of their food. It wasn't bad. It just seemed a little pricey, and for some people, maybe on a budget, something faster and cheaper really gets them suckered. Hey, I guess they have no excuse now. I can go.
And honestly, for anyone who hasn't gone, this is not just like a Days Inn or something. It's not a just regular hotel. This is a fancy, swanky place.
To be fair, as much as I love the Palatine, like because that's what I was used to from going to Chaos Cup several years in a row, and we just got used to the area and like where restaurants were. This hotel's way better than the Palatine one. I mean, it really is. I mean,
this is one of the nicest hotels that I've ever stayed at, actually. Yeah. And I've stayed in some nice places when I was doing productions, and some places would put us up in the same spot as like the General Mills CEO or something. They're just like, oh, you have the same hotel room. So I've stayed in some pretty nice places, not like penthouse style suites, but quality hotels. The JW Marriott that was just built, or actually it wasn't just built, but the one that they built downtown Indianapolis, basically for the NFL draft, that's a nice hotel. They built that one, and we stayed in there like the first year it was open. Jeez. And that's a nice place. And these are nicer. So,
and hold on, let's start from the top here. This is for September 25th and 26th. For the weekend of Chaos Cup. And if people are flying in, let's act like this is the first time you've ever listened to this podcast, because it probably is for somebody there. This is the biggest tournament in North America that you can go to this year, and probably every year that I know of.
Biggest tournament on this side of the Atlantic.
And if you say you can't drive, you certainly can fly, because you're right next to an airport, correct?
Yes, that was my big thing. Johnny always wanted to do it, actually. He always wanted to have Chaos Cup next to the airport because he was marketing it internationally. He was like, this is the U.S. major, but we want international people to come. And as unfortunately, the place in Palatine was a 45-minute Uber, half-hour drive from the airport.
Half-hour train, 15-minute drive,
bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's not nearly as convenient as this is, and this is free, like free shuttle, airport.
And you know how you tell people you're going to Chicago? As much as I enjoyed the area of Palatine because I got used to it, it doesn't feel like downtown Chicago, and where the Rosemont stuff is, you're just right there from it.
Right. And you could take a train downtown. You're not in the city. Like Rosemont is outside the city, but it's
still, right. I don't know, 30 minutes closer than Palatine was. So
yes,
it's kind of like the perfect distance that if we do go to a Cubs game or you go visit a museum, you're not that far away. I mean, the slog back when you went to, like on Friday, we went to a museum and stuff, man, the slog back was like,
it was killer. Yeah.
Why did we even go sightsee if we were going to have to go sit in traffic for an hour and a half? So,
right. Well, yeah, the cool thing about this is you can take I forget it's the red line or blue line right downtown. So you don't even have to have a car to worry about parking.
No. Wow. And if there's anybody who's traveling with someone who's playing, the shuttle takes you to a lot of cool places around there. There's an outdoor mall, a movie theater, just a lot of neat little areas.
Well, Steve, indoor skydiving.
Steve, you flew up there.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, right? And you had no problems getting around or anything, right?
Oh, no. It was... I mean, I mainly got in to do the event, but we stayed over for that Monday, and that Monday we did take an Uber into Wrigleyville. But, the shuttle took us most places we wanted to go aside from that.
Right. Well, and the fact that in the parking lot there's 2 restaurants just right there that you could go to at any time.
3. Because of Dave & Buster's.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
It was like the Mexican place, Dave & Buster's, and whatever the other one is.
Like a steak place?
Yeah. Super fancy. And best steak I've ever had is $40 for like a 6-ounce sirloin. Sounds crazy. Cheapest thing on the menu. 100% worth it. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Nice. True Lux is no joke.
Yeah.
Oh, True Lux. That's right. That's what it was.
Yeah.
But you wrote that. So how much does it cost for people who want to, there's still time to go register. How much does it cost?
$65 and that includes your NAF membership. Because I've I always renew my NAF membership at Chaos Cup. It's easy enough for me to remember, and now that I'm doing it, Mike does it for me. So
you're saying I need to renew my NAF membership. I can just pay for a Chaos Cup, even if I don't go, and I'm going to get my renewal.
It's $60 if you have already renewed. So if your membership, if you renew your membership in January, it's only going to cost you $60.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. Okay. I thought you were going to automatically renew everybody there. I'm misunderstood.
No.
I'm sorry.
No. It's only $5 to register on site and to pre-register, as opposed to like doing it through the NAF. I think it's $10.
Right.
In person it's $5.
In person is $5.
Yeah.
Right.
I got you.
Because they don't have to worry about mailing you anything. They give you your stuff right there.
Much easier.
So what if I showed up the day of the tournament? How much is that going to cost me?
That's going to cost you an extra $10.
Extra $10. So
just
$70 or 75.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And please bring your rosters if you do that. Please send in your rosters early.
Well, I emailed a guy. So shout out to Jordy, who I don't know who he is, but he emailed and he was like, can I pay in cash? And I said, yes, you can pay in cash, but that's not technically pre-registering. And then you're going to have to print out your own rosters, and we'll see. He hasn't read the message yet or gotten back to me yet. So I'll see if,
we've had people do that.
Talk him into pre-registering. I like to have everybody pre-register just so that I can fill out the score.
Oh, yeah.
And get all the matchups for the first round done.
That's what I was going to say. We've had people ask that, and I've basically told them, yeah, if you want to pay at the door, and I'll even give you the discount price if you give me your roster early and, you let me know your NAF name. We have everything set to go, because that's my main thing. I want that taken care of. The money on the day of, that's perfectly fine. Don't care. But you do you.
Yeah, it's like two people show up because they decide not to pre-register. Then be prepared to play with your buddy, because you're going to probably go down at the end of the list. I'll put you right there. So if you drove 8 hours with them and didn't plan ahead and decided to just let me know at the last minute, then be prepared to sit across from them for the next 2.5 hours. So,
all right. Something that I like that Chaos Cup, at least since me and Steve's been going, and our first Chaos Cup was 2011, and I don't know how it was before, so I can only judge things, from 2011 up. And I guess I give a lot of credit to Johnny P, who started it from me and Steve's perspective. He had, every year he kind of had a different logo, and I don't know if he was the guy who started that, or if he took over from who ran it before Johnny. Was
Tom?
It like Tom? Was it
Tom Anders?
Tom.
Yeah.
Tom. Yeah. So I don't know if Tom did that. So I don't know where to give the right credit to, but
pretty sure that's a Johnny thing.
Through the transition from Johnny P to Katie to now you kind of just kept the good traditions of Chaos Cup alive, and every year I think it's always cool to see the reveal of what kind of like theme the logo is going to have this year, because there's a couple things you've kept going that for me, even if I can't make it, I'm going to pre-register because I want the cool collector's coin. And I don't use the coins at all. If you see me at a tournament, you're never going to see me flip a big old metal coin and try to accidentally chip your miniatures as I do the coin flip. Even though I want to do that, I don't. But I love collecting those coins.
I just used those coins in a tournament in Nebraska for the Halfling Hurl because I had 2-star players, and I was like, we can use the coins to represent their crazy new special skills, one time a game skills, and flip it over after you've used it. Guess how many times I used it during the tournament?
None.
0. None.
But it is a great idea.
But you got to carry it to the tournament, so it's like it made you feel good.
I totally had a use for them to sit there and not get flipped over to the chaos side.
So this year is like the Chaos Cup year, the squig, or the squig. The squig's on the mascot.
The squig
or the coins. Right. Yeah.
The squig teams. Like I had a whole bunch of different ideas. I have a whole bunch in the bag of potential for different ones. And because they came out with second season edition, I was not prepared for them to redo Blood Bowl rules and whatnot. So I was like, well, we're just going to go with the squig year this year because
So with that being said,
who knows?
I mean, I guess it should be obvious to everybody, but you are using the new rules. You're not using 2016.
Yes.
You're using 2020
Before we
season
talk-
2.
Can I stop
What?
on everybody right now?
Yeah.
Can
Do
we
it.
talk, since we're just talked about the squig logo, can we talk about everything you get with the cost, and then we can go into the rules? Would that be a problem?
Well,
Okay.
now that you
So
broke it
everything
off.
you get, you get. Well, we're gonna have a custom dice. So 2 different sets of D6s. Jack
Mhm.
from Maelstrom is doing the dice this year.
Nice.
So he's getting more and more of the market share for swag that we do because
Mhm.
he's great and
He
he's
is.
reliable. So that everybody gets a patch, everybody gets a coin, everybody will get a one of 6 different squig models
Whoa,
that
what?
Tom at Impact. Right.
That's
Do you
awesome.
want a whole set? Oh, you're gonna have to go to Tom and ask him to get you the 5 you don't have,
That's pretty neat,
or a
actually.
trade, or go to
That's-
cereal boxes, open a cereal box and dump it out and try and get the one at the bottom of you.
Is Tom going to
Yeah.
be there again this year?
Tom is not going to be here because we're really close to Gen Con.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the unfortunate things, one of the deals with the Rose, because I was trying to manipulate the best deal and whatever. And they said, if you can have it on that last week in September, then we'll give you this. And I was like, oh, sure, no problem. Whatever. But I didn't realize that Gen Con was so close. And Tom obviously makes more money from Gen Con than he
Sure.
does from
Sure.
Blood Bowl stingy guys like us. So.
Is he going to have? Is he at least going to send you some of the sets of other 5s or the
So-
squigs?
No, I'm not asking him to do that.
Oh, okay.
Because he's given us models for free.
Sure.
So I'm gonna give everyone who gets a swag bag is gonna get one free. If you like yours, if you like somebody else's better than yours, you guys can trade, or you can contact him. The STL, it's a 3D print, and it was free, so you can probably find them and print them out yourself. Except there's 15 of them. And some of them don't print all that well. Tom did the test. He was like, okay, these ones print like crap. These are the ones that kind of I could manipulate a little bit better. Here's the best ones. Here are the ones that I've supported the best. And so I picked half a dozen. And he said, we'll go with that. So if somebody has a 3D printer, they can go and they can try and print their own.
Cool.
Probably not as easy as going to Tom and just
Yeah, that's
telling
what
him
I'm
you want
saying.
the other 5.
Just support Tom. Tom always, from my knowledge, always donates a miniature to Chaos Cup every year.
And he's the
Yes.
reason we have Chaos Cup, really. Wasn't him, it wouldn't be going on.
I tell you what, that first year of Chaos Cup, the main reason I wanted to go was to get one of those classic, like, second edition Chaos All-Stars models. That was like, I told Steve driving up, man, this is one of the biggest things. I'm going to get one of those models.
Well, and
Yes.
also at the time, the secondary market was such that one model was going for like $50. So we're like, if we can just get that
Right.
one model, this pays for the trip. It
Yeah,
pays for the event.
what else do you get besides your, a random squig model?
Oh, we'll be getting a star player card from specialplaycards.com, Jason Weaver, who is actually coming this year.
Dang it.
So,
I need to get out there then.
and then, I just noticed I did not update the webpage. It says a leatherette dice bag. I was looking at those. It almost happened. And then when came time to order them, they were like, you can't get them. What else would you like? Would you like this drink holder? I was like, no, I wanted the leatherette dice bag. Damn. Like, it was a really nice golf bag.
Mhm.
It was really big. leatherette, so it felt like leather, except it wasn't. A little bit less expensive. It was still more expensive than normal, but I figured since I don't have to buy face masks and hand sanitizer for everybody this year.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's a good segue. So you're not requiring them this year,
Oh, we're
or
probably wearing masks.
okay?
Yeah.
Because yeah,
I
it's
was gonna be well, I had put it on Facebook to after I got my vaccination, and I was like, "Who's all as excited as me that we can
yeah.
get vaccinated and not have to wear masks?" And I got a lot of backlash from people, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna have mandated vaccine cards?" And I wasn't saying we should get it mandated. I was just maybe hoping we wouldn't have to wear masks, but looks like we'll be wearing masks.
And
Probably
then
not a bad idea anyway.
not with that
We
Delta
have
going around. So
Right. I mean, and we have people flying in from all four corners of the country. We got guys from Washington, we got guys from Southern California, we got guys from the East Coast who have never been up here. We got the Florida crew, we got Texas, we got Minnesota.
That's
So
great.
we have people coming from everywhere. We might very possibly have some Canadians coming if things don't get shut down, if they're vaccinated, they're able to get through. I think we'll probably have some Canucks. Jack Petruka is trying to come down. He's got a room book, so
cool.
the only thing that's going to keep him from coming is
The world.
another wave.
It was actually
Blah,
kind of
blah, blah.
neat. We at the tournament that we went to last weekend, there was actually a guy there that had a Maelstrom mat, and he's like, "No, I just found this neoprene mat, and my buddy bought it online, and I really liked it, so I got one. I don't really know where it's from." I'm like, "Is it Maelstrom?" He's like, "Yeah, I think that's the name." And he had the bag in, and like, "Yep, that's our buddy Jack."
Jack does good stuff.
He does.
Speaking of, Jack is doing pitches for you if you pre-register, right?
Yes. Oh, you can pre-order the mat even if you're not going.
Okay.
And he's going to be shipping them here. So if you're in the United States, you won't have to pay international shipping. And so if you're able, if you're not able to come and you want the mat, then just contact me and we'll get it ordered and get you one because they're really neat. This year, although it's not up on the website yet because Jack got hacked and he lost some of his files.
Oh man.
So he lost his files. I kept contacting him. I was like, "Hey Jack, were you gonna give me?" And he exasperatedly just messaged me like a week ago. He's like, "Yeah, so I kind of lost everything and I've had to rebuild it and it's been really stressful, but I'll get it done." And I was like, "Okay, well, I trust you. He has not done anything that's been crap. So he'll get a little extra time as long as we get all the orders in for the mats by, I think it's like August 21st. So that'll be the last time we're able to order mats. But people have been pre-ordering them sight unseen just because all of them are cool.
Yeah,
Well,
and it's great to have
such a good job normally. I mean, like we went through him, Chaos Cup before has gone through him. You're right. There's no reason not to trust him, you know.
Yeah, it's also great to have a souvenir. That's one of the things I love about the mats is just as a souvenir, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like the band I mean, it's like
Yes.
kind of like the band T-shirt if
Mhm.
you went to a concert. So.
But they cost about the same.
All right, now you wanted to talk about rules, right, Steve?
Oh
You said
yeah,
we're going into the segue of speaking of 2020 rules.
yeah. It's just you're using
Or
the season
second
2
season.
rules, so it's using the single and the double and all that fun stuff. So it's changed up the amount to start with and the skill package.
Yes. I've always wanted to add up a little bit of stuff, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from people saying, you just get more viability for other races if you increase the team value. And so I saw the change to second season as a perfect opportunity to increase it. Now it's not as high as some. I picked Like I picked 1.12 to be stupid, but also because like that with the 180 and gold gets you to 1.3 overall, and so that I think is a manageable thing. There's just about every race that you can come up with something that's interesting to play.
What was it last
And
year? Do you remember? Was it
last year was
1.1?
no, last year was 1 million.
Just 1 million?
Kept
Okay.
it. Yeah, because it was always super tight.
So what this is going to allow, which I think is good, is I often look when I go to a tournament, I'm too much of a wussy to play with dwarves or whatever with just 11 people, and I want at least one reroll. So at Chaos Cup, oftentimes to get what I felt like I needed to be, I guess, the best that I could be, or my crutches for taking a certain team, pieces I felt comfortable with, it narrowed it down because it's like, and here's another thing. I want to play Wood Elves maybe at Chaos Cup, but to me, the fun of having a Wood Elf team, and I know it sounds stupid because it's not optimal, I want a Tree Man on my Wood Elf team. Because to me, that's what makes the Wood Elves Wood Elves. Otherwise, I'm just going to play Pro Elves, So
a lot of the high end players do take the tree, so it's not that unusual.
Oh, do they?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Well, so I think that's good that you kind of expanded this out. At least try it for 1 year. There's nothing wrong with that. And if for some reason, something seems too overpowerful, or you're going to get feedback. People are going to talk. People are going to talk and give you feedback. To hopefully. And I recommend all players do this. Tell your TO what you like and dislike about the tournament.
Yeah,
Even if you disagree, speak it so they can at least take that information and just go evaluate it and decide if that's important or not.
Yeah, there's already a load of talk on Facebook Blood Bowl community about different builds and what's overpowered and star player is overpowered and this build is overpowered, and the fact that I've seen 3 to 4 different things that people have mentioned that they're like, oh yeah, that's overpowered. I was like, okay, good. We got 4 different things. They can all duke it out, and then we'll find out what's really overpowered about it. Because
well, at the end of the day, I don't care what people say about being overpowered or not. I bet you if I got to see the field of coaches, I could pick 20 of them and tell you they're going to be, 15 of these guys are going to be in the top, because usually I don't care. I know everybody says there's a lot of luck in Blood Bowl, this and that. The good coaches are good coaches for a reason.
Yep. For sure.
yeah, still got to roll 6s and POWs.
Well, you still got to, but to me, the better coaches seem to not roll as many dice as some of us other people who sometimes pull it off, but then other times we bite the bullet when we roll too many ones and stuff. So
no, absolutely, they mitigate risk well, and that's why they continue to do well. But regardless, it should be fun to see the competition, and there's a whole lot of stuff that we just don't know about the new rules, like leaping over prone players. Like, who's the first one that's going to find like a trick or some little trick play about how to use that to your advantage?
So Jeff, we learned at the last tournament we went to that I guess the like prayers for Nuffle table, the normal one, is like for, I guess, made for leagues, and the guy who ran it had us use the exhibition prayers and table. So that never dawned on me until we were in the moment, and then I was like, oh, that makes sense. I would have never thought so.
Well, that's because the normal one has like stuff that grants you as star player points or something that's just not applicable. But yeah, there's some people that are like, the prayers to Nuffle thing is broken, overpowered. And I'm like, I don't know. Well,
so
I don't think that.
With the new rules, obviously you're using the exhibition match rules for that. Any other new 2020 rules that you had to make a call on, or are waiting to hear feedback on, or just confused by as to how it's going to implement?
only thing that is going to be different from what is written in the book as what you should do, the 2020 rules have, for star players in league, they say in league, if two teams hire the same star player, neither of you get them. For exhibition, both players get them.
Yeah.
And Mike said, no, we should do Highlander. It's going to be quicker. It's going to be easier. And so he made that call way early before anybody was even playing with tournaments. And I was like, I like the idea of both people having the star player.
Yeah.
Like one of them would be a fake.
Exactly.
But then I was like, but then Mike said, no, it'll make things quicker. And I was like, no, staying on time, that's a good thing too. Staying on time is a great thing. I've loved staying on time. We're going to go with that. And then with all this stuff that people have been talking about, like, oh, this star player combination is broke. This star player combination is broke. Halflings are broke because they can take Griff and Morg. And I'm like, okay, Highlander rule.
Yeah. Yeah.
You both take Griff and Morg?
There was
Guess what?
some
Now
tournament.
you're just playing with flings.
There was some tournament where the top 5 teams, of the top 5, 4 of them were flings. And I was like, how'd that happen? And they're like, well, they took the stars. I'm like, oh.
Where was this at, Steve?
Some tournament online, they posted that 4 of the top 5 were halflings. I was like, that's just weird. What was the rule set? And they said nothing weird except the fact that all of the flings took the 2 big stars. So, yeah, it's not the flings winning. It is them.
It was also a really large build.
That was it.
Like I think they started with like 1,300 team value that you got, and then you got skills on top of that.
Okay.
And Stunties got an extra skill package because they were tiered lower.
I hate tournaments like that.
People had 2 trees with block and break tackle and Morg and Griff Oberwald.
And that's one thing that we need to actually look at, because the way the teams are now, I get that they're tiered, but they're not as much of a cliff as they used to be. You know, it used to be 1, then 2, a little bit, and then way down for 3. And now it's like 1, then a little bit 2, and then maybe a little bit more for 3. 3 can hold their own a lot now, especially with the stars.
They tightened them up, I think, really well.
Yeah.
And I like the aspect that there are teams that you can take that aren't necessarily the most optimal or build. For people who want to challenge, or when you're playing with just your buddy who you're trying to introduce the game to, like, oh, I'll take one of these teams that's not as good and you take one of the ones that's better.
Yeah.
That way you can learn a little bit better. It's a built-in way to mitigate coaching skill level. It's great.
I think this bigger build, going from 1 million to this 1.12 million, is you're going to see a lot of different teams. You're going to see a lot more large monsters on the pitch, and probably you're going to see a lot more star players, which in the Fluff, they should come out for this event, because in the Fluff, this is Chaos Cup. This is like a tournament where the big freebooters go to make some money and help their team win.
Yeah.
So I think I'm actually really interested. I'd like to get you back, and after all this is over, and kind of hear about like what some interesting builds you saw, or like how it's, the landscape has changed from previous Chaos Cups.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's talk. You said you're giving 180 gold pieces to buy normal and double skills, or what we're used to now, I guess, in second season is primary skills, which is 200k, or 20k, and then secondary skills, which are 40k each. You say you may not purchase any stat upgrades. Good call. You may give each player up to 2 additional skills. So in theory, you could have a team of 11 humans with 9 of them to have 2 skills each. Is that correct?
9 of
Oh, that's
2
not right.
skills.
You get. I'm
No.
sorry, 4 guys with 2 skills each. I'm sorry, I did my.
Well,
math.
I mean, with humans, if you're doing blitzers and catchers and throwers that already have
I'm
skills,
sorry,
and
I had my mouth wrong. You
add
get,
1 skill.
you can get
Yes.
up to 9 normal skills, so you could theoretically get 4 guys, 4.5 guys with double skills.
That'd make
Yes.
And then you may only take up to 4 of each skill total. So you could only have 4 guard on the dwarves. You can only add 4 block to the Nurgle team, which is
so you'd
that's a
only
great
have
option.
8 Amazon blitzers.
Right.
Right.
Stupid Amazon.
Correct.
Jeez.
But yeah, that's a heck of a team to show up with. Nobody likes to see that.
No. And then you still have more skills to play with.
Right. Because then you just throw 4 on the blobs and you give,
Sidestep.
some of them guard. Because don't
guard.
Amazon blitzers have strength access?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, they did in the old rules. Don't
Jeez,
quote
yeah.
me on the new rules.
Yeah, Amazons can be nasty. The last tournament we went to, Amazons won all, but there's no skills, so it doesn't mean anything.
Well, it actually means a lot. They did.
Well, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, in
they went
regards
through
to
a
this
dwarf
discussion.
team and they went through a chaos dwarf team with ease. So the event starts Saturday. I'm looking here at your little schedule here. You got some announcements. Check in. That starts at 8:00, and round 1 kicks off at 9:00 in the morning. You're going to run 2 rounds to like 1:45, and then you got a lunch break. Back at 2:45, 2:45 to 7:30 ish, and then you have something.
First day is a slog. 4 games. It's Crusher.
And then
at 8:30, Squig Dungeon Bowl tournament, limited to the first 20 participants. Explain this, sir.
So Squig Dungeon Bowl, and I may move it from Saturday. I may move it to Friday. It depends on who signs up for it. We don't have a lot of people that are have expressed interest in it. It's if you've ever played Dungeon Bowl, it's ridiculous, and so it can be over in 20 minutes. It could take 2 hours. It's your typical Dungeon Bowl. Players come in at a time. You'll have 4 players in one dungeon, but then there's going to be a 5th player who can't win anything, is just there to move around the squigs. And there'll be 6 squigs in there. He rolls a d6 to see which one moves randomly, and then he moves it. So you have one person in charge of the squigs. That's just moving one between everybody's turn. So
is this an actual tournament? Are you going to start with 4 pods and then narrow it down to a final?
Yeah. So yes. So the winner would get to it. Now we might not have that many people. If we might only have enough to do one, and that's fine. But if we have 2, then maybe we'll have a showdown with 2 people that play in a dungeon, and then we'll have like 4 people throw squigs and just try and eat their lunch all day. But I think I might try and move it to Friday, because 4 games on Saturday is a slog.
yeah,
And
it's
there
nice
is
to go eat
sevens.
afterwards.
There's going to be the 7s on Friday night.
I was about to ask you about that. Is there an event on Friday night?
There is. So James Luff is running 7s, and yeah, that shouldn't take too long. I think it's going to start at 7:00. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have 7 start at 8. That's stupid. So
If anybody out there is traveling in and they're going to play 7s for the very first time, I'm going to tell you a couple things. It's still Blood Bowl, so it might wear you out for the next day, meaning like if it's brand new to you. I know it killed Gary last year when he went. He played Friday night and played all those games, and then Saturday by round 3 and 4, it was just like you said, a slog, and he wasn't used to that. And that was just a lot of Blood Bowl for him. Another thing, if you are going to play in the 7s tournament, don't do what I did and just show up. You need to look over the damn rules and like how the kickoff stuff happens and the setups for kickoff and everything else. Or I'm telling you right now, one of those Florida guys are going to blow you out of the water because they're used to playing sevens often, and somebody who's used to the rules knows some little, they've been there before. They know the setups. They know what can happen. Prepare yourself. But they are quick.
Yes.
They are quick little fun games, with like no rerolls and stuff. Anything can happen, and it could be really bad and it could be really good. You just never know. So, anyways, that's my advice for sevens.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and play in sevens. I don't like sevens as much as I like normal 11s, but it's fun. So
Well, definitely,
we'll bring a fun painted team out there and just
there you go.
push things. They're nice.
I would just play elves if I did it all over again. With elves, if you have 4 guys on the pitch, you can still do things. With other teams, you're kind of dead in the water once you get outnumbered. So.
Very, very true.
All right, then I'm assuming I know we always call it SaulCon. Is that going to happen all weekend with Saul bringing like 400 board games to everybody to play games and stuff?
Yes, he and Aaron Wisniewski are probably going to bring board games on Saturday night, and so that'll be happening. We'll have the rooms open for that. The whole wing is going to be ours. So even
So
the little
much
side rooms
room.
and whatnot.
So if you've never been to Chaos Cup before, you need to go. And if you like to play board games and you think, I don't want to bring some board games because I'm taking an airplane or I don't have room in the car. I have 3 of my buddies. Trust me, Saul and Aaron are going to bring so many board games. You're going to think like these guys are crazy. But Saul, who we're talking about, is Solomon Nicely. Great person. And I know he would love to have more people around playing board games. He's a big board gamer like me. So good stuff.
Yeah, I just went to the tournament for Terry in Nebraska, and Aaron let me stay with him, and he introduced me to a couple games. One that I'm totally getting.
What'd you play?
Wingspan. Apparently, he and his wife had been playing Wingspan on a daily basis. They just kept it on their dining room table. But my dad is really into birds. He's retired. That's it's what old people do. Start watching birds. He's got a stupid clock that chirps every hour, and it chirps as a different bird. But this game Wingspan, it's basically about not harvesting birds, but like creating areas for different birds, water birds, birds on the ground, birds in trees, and you kind of get different birds. And it's got a little app that you hold the thing over and it will play the song of that bird, like that bird whistling.
Oh, that's neat.
I know.
So I thought that would be pretty cool for my dad.
I know we sold the mess out of those games, and we still do. Like every time we get some new ones in, it's like, hey, we got to restock, and people just come in and buy. I have never played it, but I heard it's a great game where it's like competitive, and yet at the same time you don't feel stressed. Is how it was described to me. Like you're having fun either way. Is that how you felt?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, because it has a lot of the same conventions that Caverna has.
Okay.
Caverna, which is Agricola.
Mm-hmm.
So Agricola was made, and one of the big feedback things for it was it's really stressful if you're not able to feed your dwarves. Then they die. So it's like you really have to feed them. Like everybody has to do that. Everybody has to do that. And if you can't, then it kind of ruins the game for you. Well, he fixed that with Caverna, so now there's multiple avenues. So you're still kind of stymied by, somebody picks this, so you can't do that, but you can go a completely different path and still have a chance to do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And that is very much so with Wingspan. There's so many different ways that you can go and try and get points and, get big birds, get small birds, get, different rare birds, or get birds that do different things, and you're not stuck by what somebody else chooses to do.
Well, that's good.
Occasionally, but not to a point where it gets frustrating for the game.
Is your dad a board gamer?
Not really.
We'll see if this bridges the gap,
see.
though, right? Yeah.
Right. Who knows? Maybe we'll just spread them all over.
Yeah,
The
one of
dining
my
room
favorite
table and start
memories
getting the things.
was when my grandma, she was in her 80s, and before she passed, about the year before she passed, I took Ticket to Ride out to try to get my special needs brother to play that because he was into trains. Well, my grandma sat in and went ahead and just played with us for some reason. I'll never know why, because she's never played games before. And boy, about the fourth turn in, she's like, "This is actually really fun." I mean, it like ticked a box for her for some reason, and I'll never forget like how I got a board game moment with my grandmother before, she left this plane. So I'll always remember that and be thankful for. I never want to play Ticket to Ride again. I'd like it being that's the last game I played with my grandmother, and let it be. I mean, it's a great game. I just don't want to play it anymore. So, all right, I guess we should get back to Blood Bowl, right?
So Squigs.
We can.
Yeah,
Squigs.
Squig,
Oh,
Squid Dungeon Bowl.
So yeah, you get
Sevens on Friday.
your sixth round. You get a pet Squig.
Oh yeah, let's talk about
Yes. Oh yeah, the star player squig, which I have not put on the website yet because I haven't updated the website, and so now we get a both down exclusive for what the star player you're going to get in round 6 is going to be.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's just a squig, but it's modeled after the Fumble Secret League squig team, Cave Squig. So movement 6, strength 4, agility 3, armor 8, with leap, very long legs, claw, really stupid, and no hands.
Jeez.
So
just a little wrecking machine.
Just a stupid little wrecking machine that can leap on a 3.
And
So
you're giving away an award for the person who does the most casualties by them. Or fouls.
Yes. You're not going to foul with this squig.
Well, probably not, but you never know.
Somebody there will.
If everybody's already down and you're going for the award, you do a foul.
Are you still doing mutations, Jeff?
Yes.
Because
Yep,
that's
so
been
everybody will get.
Yeah, go ahead.
That you are correct. That has been a staple for Chaos Cup. The Chaos round, players that have your general lineman position type of 0 to 12 or 0 to 16, unless you're Chaos Pack, Nurgle, Underworld, or Khorne, then you can put 2 extra mutations, your choice, on to those players.
Nice.
So
is the squig going to count as a player on your team, or is it going to be like the 12th player for everybody? Because I've been to tournaments where you get a special star player, and when they've done that at some of the ones I've been to, that round you actually had 12 people on the pitch.
Oh, no.
That's what I was asking. He's a part of your team?
Yeah, part of the team. So one of the 11 that you will field.
So that means those guys in that top table will sit their squig to the side so they don't have to mess with his dumb ass.
Stick him on the line of scrimmage. I mean, that's the worst case scenario. And like,
I understand.
Armor value 8. Stick him on the line of scrimmage to get punched in the face. Like that's perfect. So for anybody that really wants to mitigate the really stupid, and also you can't have something that's super overpowered, because the NAF doesn't like that.
No, of course not.
But
is there anything that we have not addressed that you'd like us to speak about? Probably checked all the boxes in a roundabout way.
So you're saying I'm just going through the rule pack here. After round 5, the top 4 people will be in the top 2 tables, with all have a chance to win Chaos Cup. And then you're going to take the top 2 stunty teams, ranked 1 and 2, and put them into like a stunty bowl to play that out.
Yes.
And then
unless that stunty team is on the top table.
Right.
Could happen.
They could.
It might. Snotlings, halflings,
Morg.
goblins. Goblins got better. It's not going to be ogres. Ogres suck.
I still try to play ogres and the stupid goblins. You have 12 awards you're giving out. That's a lot.
Do I?
Yep. I just checked
Jeez
it.
Louise.
That's good though.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. And we share the wealth, so nobody's going to walk away with
2 awards.
with more than one, unless there's a painting award, because there's also painting awards.
Oh, I
Yes,
didn't
we're
even count
painting.
those.
We're showing off our toys. So yeah, those are just the regular awards. Then there's the painting awards.
So you got special judges coming in for that?
No,
I mean, you're not judging, is what I'm getting at.
nope, not yet. Everybody's going to get to vote.
Okay.
So we'll have the voting, and so everybody will. I'm going to try and find a better way to display the teams this year so that people can see them, and definitely have a little setup. I was not prepared last year because, well, Mike didn't show up and do it.
That's the constant struggle of painting competitions to me. And like the only thing that would work is if you take photos and upload them to a website, people can go look at them, but then are they going to look at them and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And
Yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge when people show up with the team and that they're playing it and they want.
Mhm.
But there are ways to get it. If you're proud of your team, if you painted up a really, really, really good team and you have a display, then show it to every opponent that you have and say, I'm putting this in the painting competition. Go have your friends look at it, blah, blah, blah. So hawk your own abilities if you're really proud of what you want.
Yeah, for
We
sure.
love toys. I love toys.
yeah,
Let's
and
show off our toys.
and if you're like me and you show up to Chaos Cup and you are proud of your team because you play it locally, and then you go to Chaos Cup and you see all these painted teams and you go, God, I suck at painting.
hmm
These guys are amazing. I tell you what, last year I hired out a guy that I believe, I'm not 100% sure if he got an award. I cannot remember, but I loved how he painted. I met him for the first time.
Didn't he get best stunty with the ogres?
Or maybe he got wooden spoon.
I don't know.
He didn't get,
Oh, Alan Bedingfield?
Alan. And I hired him out,
He's
man.
a
I
great
was like,
painter.
yeah, oh gosh. And I was like, dude, I need to talk to you after this. And he was like, okay. And he painted my Old World Alliance team. So like, I'm really happy. So another thing great about Chaos Cup, you can make connections to other people around the world. You can see them face to face. You can talk to them. You can find out their strengths and weaknesses, and maybe they can help you out. So good stuff.
I've loved Chaos Cup since my first year, 2014, and that's where I met for the first time two of my very good friends that I met through Fumble. And our personalities clicked online playing in leagues on Fumble, and we just decided to go to Chaos Cup together one year. Keller Reeves and Ken Bergen. And
2 of the most disgusting,
Pretty
horrible
sure.
people you can ever. Oh, wait, I mean,
oh no, Ken's nasty.
oh well,
Ken is
yeah, that's
nasty.
true. And again,
He
if you
is
haven't gone to
crass.
Chaos Cup, I mean, we give each other crap, but it is like a big summer camp because everyone stays in the same hotel. You're playing games all weekend. You're hanging out. You're meeting people, like people that you don't know. You're still going to hang out with them. You're going to chat with them. You'll know them next time you come.
And on to that point, bringing it back to the Rose Hotel. So the first year that we had at the Rose Hotel, I think we had maybe somewhere in the lower 80s with
Mhm.
regards to room nights. Like they count like how many people are staying, how many rooms are rented, and how many nights. And it was only like 80 room nights for the first year because people were staying in other hotels. This year already, with just 60 people paid thus far, we have over 100 room nights booked.
Wow.
So people are staying at the hotel.
Yeah, for the
There's people that are staying there a little bit after, turning it into mini vacations, and there's just more people that are staying there. So we're going to dominate that place.
that's going to be awesome.
Oh, Scott, you're on mute. You muted yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear you, so I did something even good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you hear us? Now we can't hear you. What are you doing?
Oh, I accidentally hit this button again. I always
Pushing
miss.
buttons.
I never do it on purpose either. This is real life. This is 47, folks.
He hits it. He hits it when he uncrosses his legs.
Yeah, my big sack hits the thing. If you're traveling in by yourself, though, like if you take the leap and you want to travel, I'm telling you right now, you will not eat a meal alone unless you choose to go eat that meal alone, because there's a lot of fellowship at these things, and like Steve said, it's a big fraternity, it's a club or whatever it is. If you make yourself available, somebody's going to hang out with you. So don't feel like you're just going to be stuck in your room. You're going to come right down and play Blood Bowl and stuff like that. Really, some of the best times at Chaos Cup is when you mingle more. And it doesn't mean you have to go get drunk, or you don't have to go to a club, or, I mean, maybe some of us have done that in previous years. But hanging out at the hotel sometimes is your best memories and some of the greatest stories you're going to get from these things. So
It is fun. Although the little nightlife at the Rosemont place across the road, you can go and shoot pool, and there's a whole large outside thing. There's a bar like just on the other side of the highway, so the shuttle will take you there.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant at the hotel there was a pool.
No, there's not.
Okay. I was like, I missed that.
No, over and there's like a chocolate place and a theater. There's a whole bunch of little places over there.
We found an Oberweis not too far from there, so that's still good news.
That's true. Okay, well, I think we've probably taken up enough of your time. Again, if there's anything else you'd like to talk about or promote, we're happy to do it.
I will say one more thing. Josh Wojcik had painted the Squig team for the raffle. That was the other thing.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Kind of made me decide on the theme. Was Pedro Ramos sculpted a Squig proxy team through Hungry Troll.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it and I was like, I'm buying two. I'm just buying two. One is for Chaos Cup and one is for me. This thing needs to go. Like this team is awesome.
It's awesome.
So awesome.
What is it proxy to, or what is it supposed to proxy to?
It can, you can use your imagination, Scott. You just tap into your inner child.
No, I know.
I'm going to use mine for dwarves.
Okay, that's what I'm asking, because a lot of those like proxy teams, they kind of have like an ideal format, and then they make extra positional, so you can use it for like 3 or 4 teams. I was just curious if he maybe said specifically, like, I originally saw this as ogres, but you can use it for this or that. So
I think you'll be able to just do it. I mean, there's some larger ones, so if you wanted to use it for, a Chaos Pack team, you could. You could probably swing it for anything.
Ooh, a pack team would be cool.
Yeah. Like anything that you had positionals for, red ones, yellow ones, white ones.
His company does really, really good work. Every time I see one of his art style Kickstarters or whatever, their Indiegogo, whatever the funding machine is, it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't need this team, but I want it so bad.
Yeah, Pedro is my favorite. But Josh did a fantastic job. So I'm taking some pictures, and that's what's kind of holding up my update of the website. But I'll be posting pictures of that and the charity that we'll decide to give it off to, because not sure how much other stuff Mike's going to have for a raffle, which is good and bad. Not having as much stuff to raffle for and give away kind of kept us on time last year. But one of the things I wanted to keep in there was the fact that somebody could walk away with a really, really, really fabulous, fabulous team. And not many people are going to have Squig teams.
Definitely not.
That's true.
So,
I mean, that's kind of the thing too, right? The right raffle gets a lot of people participating in there. Somebody might go, oh, I got an elf team, I don't need another one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Squigs, stuff like that is always good for raffles. I know we're trying to wrap this up. I believe it was Phil Bonarak is doing the
Legacy team.
The Chaos Legacy team.
The Legacy team.
Explain that to people who've never been before. They're hearing this for the very first time. They finally talked to their wife. They're coming to Chicago. What do they need to do?
So legacy team is basically you bring a model of the theme. This year it's squigs. So bring a squig model, paint it like something. There's different colors that we'll be able to paint it for. Says Phil is setting it up to be a proxy for a number of different things. So you sign up for a yellow squig, or you sign up for a green squig, or you sign up for a purple squig. And then your painted model entry gets you in to randomly win the entire set of everybody's painted stuff. So it's a little bit akin to that fraternity of, okay, I'll paint it and I'll donate this model, and then that earns you a spot in the raffle. So
And
Phil is running that. He has that up on Facebook so that you can sign up for it. And
Is that in the Blood Bowl community, or is that on like the Chaos Cup webpage, like Facebook page?
I believe there's both. I think he put it on the Chaos Cup Facebook site,
Okay.
and there's a link to it somewhere in the Blood Bowl community as well.
Okay.
And if
So,
anyone
yeah.
wants to win it, if I do go, just stand next to me. 5 of the last winners have stood exactly next to me or come with me on the trip and won the damn thing.
I think the legacy team's really cool. You donate one model, you go there, and most of the time you have like a 1 out of 16, or anywhere from 1 out of 14 to 1 out of 20 chance of winning a whole painted team, and it's a cool idea. This is one thing I wish we could do at Oklahoma Bowl, and to be honest, we probably could do that more often at Oklahoma Bowl. I just don't want to organize. I'd rather paint the model and hand it off to somebody else than organize it itself. But
Yeah.
I always loved Chaos Cup for doing this because there's some cool teams that come out of this. I mean, Phil does it. I think Phil's done it every year. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but he'll tell you like the team colors for Dark Elves this year is red and blue, and then you just paint a red and blue model and turn it in, and you might walk away with a whole new team.
I think Andy Welton did it a while back. Different people have done it. It's just basically whoever wants to volunteer and do it, because nobody wants to.
I've been wrangling Phil to do it. Last year wasn't all that successful. Last year was COVID.
Last year was last year.
Whatever.
But okay. So if people want information, they can go to Facebook, look up Chaos Cup. There's not many places that are called Chaos Cup, so you should be able to find it. Also go to chaoscup.com. We'll have the link on the website and in the show notes, that type of stuff. But aside from that, thanks for coming, and hopefully we'll be out there and seeing you. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we can hope.
We'll cross our fingers.
Whatever happens will happen, and I appreciate you guys having me on.
As always.
Thank you.
No problem. We'll have you come back after it's all over, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
Okay, we'll be right back. We're back with the end segment of Shoutouts. Okay, so I don't really have anyone this time.
That's the privilege of doing this when my kids are not here in the house.
Oh, that helps, yeah.
Only shout outs I have is just recently, I guess the big Thread Ball thing went on, and like everybody's freaking out because like a vampire team won it.
That's awesome.
If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, just go into the Facebook Blood Bowl community group. Evidently, vampires are pretty good in this edition until they come out with a new spike or something that changes them. But
well, it was funny too because everyone complained about how vampires are unplayable now and they're horrible and they're the worst team now, bar none, and blah blah blah. And then someone's just like, "Well, if I give a 5 pro to them, they're pretty good."
Yeah, I mean,
and did you know pro changed to 3 up?
Yes, after somebody stated it. I mean.
I forgot about that completely.
We're not playing leagues all the time right now, and every time I ask people, I mean, look, man, my job just started just this week, going back to like everybody has to wear masks whether you're vaccinated or not. We had one employee throw a fit and got fired because he refused to wear his mask, even though he wasn't vaccinated. He's also the guy that spreads the rumor that he has the formula that keeps the virus from you and that everybody who's vaccinated is going to die in 2 years. Anyways, he got really militant mad and threw a big fit because he wasn't wearing his mask and stuff. And I wasn't there, so I don't know what really happened. But the poor guy's gone through a lot, and he believes a lot of this conspiracy stuff. So he threw a fit. He lost his job. So
I mean,
he's going through.
it's unfortunate, but with the state of the world now, and I
Yeah.
see so many more people with it now than I used to, and thankfully, they're not getting as much affected because of the vaccine. Imagine that.
Well, one of a guy I know through acquaintances, Scott Van Eck, an artist guy,
Yeah.
who's doing some stuff for Robert. He got the COVID stuff, and luckily he was vaccinated, and he's the perfect candidate to get it and croak because he's overweight. He
Yeah.
has diabetes very bad, and it looks like he's going to make it. And it's because of him being vaccinated and them getting him treatment early. So
I had 2 former agents pass away from it with like inside of 2 weeks. And then like I have currently in my classes, I think 2 people that currently have it. But they're pushing through to try to keep the paycheck.
I'm not trying to lose listeners or gain listeners here, but you just got to remember, folks, if we're going to marvel at the fact that they can shoot a rocket into space, land a ship on another planet that's moving through space, and having the little rover go out and collect samples and this and that, maybe they have the same technology in a couple years to figure this stuff out. So
I'm not going to trust a doctor. What do they know? I don't know. Everything?
I saw some meme that somebody posted that it's been like, man, for 30 years you've ate nothing but hot dogs and other processed meat. You don't know what the hell's in that either. So I know it's all a matter of trying to be in control of something.
Of course.
So, but anyways, we are in control of the vampires. Threadball, congratulations to the guy who won it all with vampires. I'm glad to hear that they're pretty good. I feel like maybe now's the time for me to play them. And,
probably.
I did notice something today, real quick, but before we do shout outs. Mike Davies posted like a tournament thing today.
Yeah.
Like updating, like, hey, look at this. It's the tournament. So like who won what tournament, where they were held, stuff like that for over the last couple months. And there was like a bunch of tournaments. I think it was maybe last month. And Twisted Lords Con was on there. It even had Scott Prime winning most casualties. So it gave all the stats for those type of things. But what I thought was cool, I went to the NAF site to look at like how much my dwarf ranking was changed. Well, I noticed every tournament before this last one at Twisted Lords Con has the classic label on it now. And only Twisted Lords Con is my current, quote, Blood Bowl ranking.
Huh. That's cool.
So you might go check that out. I mean, it still shows like the old rankings, but record-wise, the only record I have under, quote, Blood Bowl is for that the dwarves I played at Twisted Lords Con. Everything else is under classics or sevens or online. So you people out there that don't pay attention to that stuff, go check it out and look at it. I don't know what that means or what it matters. I don't know if the old rankings have gone away.
Yeah.
Because it still shows that, like...
I think you can filter it for whichever way you want.
I think that must be it, too, because it shows, like, overall for dwarves, I'm like a 155 ranking, but in classic, I was 152 or something like that. So I haven't looked at it at a whole bunch, but I'd noticed the difference today when I just gandered at it. So, anyways, other than that, I don't have a lot of shout-outs.
Same here.
We'll be back here in 3 or 4 weeks with another podcast, though.
Or earlier, if we can get around to it. Just gotta
We
find
do
time.
that, and then we like not film. We record segments, and then we like forget to do one segment, and then life, man. You wouldn't believe what my week's like. I feel like,
Well, especially now with the kid in an activity.
Steve, it's 3 months till Christmas. Pretty much
Doesn't sound right.
I know it doesn't sound right, but it pretty much is.
Pretty sure it's March.
It feels like that. It feels like it's like February-ish.
Yeah.
And here we are starting school, and I'm going to be going to football games all the time. And
Ew, that sucks. Forgot about that.
yeah, I'm going to have to go to watch the daughter and their band. So
if you need, let me know.
What's that?
I'll go with you and get some hot dogs.
Some processed meat, you don't know what's in them.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
All right, if you don't have anything else, we'd like to thank everybody for listening today. And until next time, You're supposed to say something clever.
Something clever. No, I'm not going to do that. We'll see you next time. There we go.
Oh, I was really looking for this something clever.
Something clever.
There you go.
See you guys.
You can follow Both Down on Twitter at Both Down. You can follow Scott at
Real Scott Prime.
and Steve at Kilowog2814. If you'd like to email them, the email address is bothdownpodcasts@gmail.com. Or for more information, you can visit them at bothdown.com or at facebook.com/bothdown.
You said Saturday's loss was just a bump in the road. I mean, what about this game? Where do you go from there?
You still got to come through Chicago. Utah, Indiana, they still got to come through Chicago. I don't care what happens today, I don't care what happened in the other series. You know, still got to come through Chicago.